Hello and welcome to ReginaldESQ. I'm Underhook and this is my review of the American Tier 3 light tank, the M3 Stuart. So is it any good? Yes, it's a very good all-round tank. It only has one negative, and that's the gun, which does let it down a bit. But other than that, it's very good all-round tank. It has 240 hit points, which is on the low side of average, and weighs in around 13 ton, which is probably a bit better than average. But one of the best things about this tank is its speed. It does 61 kilometers an hour in forward and 20 kilometers an hour in reverse, and it really does nip around the battlefield, enabling you to get to good early spotting positions, or indeed to outflank your opponents. Has a tracked reverse of 45 degrees a second, which is also very good and above average. So not only is it fast in a straight line, but it turns well as well, enabling you to circle tanks, some less mobile tanks. It also has a turret traverse of 50 degrees a second, which is right up there. That's excellent turret traverse. So great turret traverse, great track traverse, great speed, very agile, and a great tank for annoying people by getting behind them and circling them. Now, it has a view range of 330 meters, which is kind of average at this tier. It's pretty good, really. And yeah, with binoculars fitted, as I have here, your spotting range is pretty good and you can do some scouting in it. Has a signal range of 615, which is the best in class, enabling you to radio back anything you're spotting with, without a problem at all. Now, the gun depression on this tank is 10 degrees, also has 20 degrees of elevation, and 10 degrees is very good, enabling this tank to hill fight really well. And you can see here, the turret is a fair bit smaller than the rest of the tank, so if you can get just your turret popping over the hill to take shots, this tank is fairly strong, because the mantlet and the turret on this tank is actually very well armored for a light tank. Now, the tank has not the best camouflage. It's probably about the third from bottom of the Tier 3 light tanks, and there are a lot of light tanks at Tier 3. However, it does maintain its camouflage while moving. Some of the tanks do maintain about, I think at Tier 3 it's about half the tanks maintain their full camouflage or their stationary camouflage even while they're moving, and this is one of them, and the other half don't. Now, you will hear some really popular reviewers who I respect very much telling you that all light tanks maintain their camouflage whilst moving. That's not true. They're talking about light tanks from Tier 5 and above. All of those tanks maintain their full camouflage whilst moving, but Tier 4 and below, it's not the case. So just be careful of that when you do watch reviews by those people, that they've said it repeatedly and it's not correct. So just watch out for that. Make sure you're not driving around thinking you've got camouflage when you haven't really. So what else can we tell you about this tank? I think we might actually have a look at the grind for it now. Research, there we go. So I was able to, as I have been lately, go straight to the top radio, straight to the top engine on this tank, so I can't tell you much about that. The tracks do boost your traverse speed from 40 to 45, which is a huge increase, so definitely worth getting the tracks. The turret is not actually a bad upgrade, because it increases your view range by 50 meters, and it doesn't slow down your traverse. It in fact speeds up your traverse from 40 to 48, which is unusual when you're swapping turrets, particularly when this one is actually a fair bit heavier than the early one. So why it speeds up your traverse is a mystery to me, but it does, and hey, I'll take it if I can get it. So basically, gun selection wise, all of the guns are useless except for the top gun. The reason I say that is the others just do not have enough penetration, and speaking of penetration, it's not that good even on the top gun. So the rate of fire is 26.09 rounds a minute, which is extremely fast. So if you put vents on and a gun rammer, you'd probably be doing a shot every 2 seconds. So it reloads very quickly. Has a penetration value of 56, which is great against Tier 2s, adequate against most Tier 3s unless you hit well armored spots. Not very good against Tier 4s at all, and almost useless against Tier 5s. You can penetrate some Tier 5s in the side and the rear, but not well armored tanks, not heavy tanks. And even some tanks where you really should pen, you just can't pen. It does lose a bit of pen over range as well. And the other thing is it has quite a low alpha damage of 40. Now you can boost the pen with premium ammunition, getting up to 78, which still won't see you penetrating any tier 5 heavies or probably some of the tier 4 tough tanks like Matildas and AMXs. You'll still have problems unless you get some weak points or something like that. But yeah, and HE is useless with only 19 mils of pen. So yeah, it's that's its letdown. And a tier 5, all you can really do is spot. Now it has 0.41 accuracy, which is not too bad for a tier 3 tank, and a fantastic aiming time of 1.7 seconds. So it does pretty much just finish aiming before it fires, which is good. But all around, you can snipe with this tank, you can flank, you can spot. So it's a good all-round tank, and it does have armor. You will bounce some shots off the front of this tank. Particularly those annoying Panzer 1 season things, when they come after you, can bounce them. So that's quite good to know. I have binoculars fitted and camouflage net fitted, and I also have a toolkit. And the only reason I went with this configuration is I'm not going to keep the tank, and I didn't want to spend any extra money on it, so I just put in the things that are free to take on and off. Small repair kit, large first aid kit fitted. Now my crew is not very well trained. They're all 75% because I've just taken them from, it says Chaffee. I actually haven't had the Chaffee yet, but it was that when we had that sport racing Chaffee. I kept the same crew in it, and I gave them Brothers in Arms and a couple of things, but the whole crew hasn't got Brothers in Arms. Anyway, they're all only 75% for all the gameplay that you see. So it does make a huge difference having a crew sort of more, once you get to 90%, seems to really change the performance of the tank. So in the gameplay you see the tank will perform, well, 25% better in with a fully trained crew. So bear that in mind. And the fact that it does pretty well with a 75% trained crew tells me that with a 100% crew, this thing would do really, really well. So let's have a look at Tank Inspector and get into some gameplay. The M3 Stuart in Tank Inspector. Now this tank has armor that I would expect to see on a medium tank at tier 3. The lower hull, or the lower glacis here, is 44mm thick, which is pretty darn good. And a lot of tier 3 tanks, and certainly nearly all, well, most tier 2 tanks will bounce off that. The upper plate here though isn't so good. It's only 16mm thick, and it is heavily sloped, but with 16mm it doesn't make much difference. It only comes out about the equivalent of 17mm, so that's not going to stop anybody. However, the upper part of the superstructure here is 38mm thick, which is really good for this tier, and even the driver's plates are still 35mm thick. So tier 2 scouts, and a lot of tier 2 tanks will bounce off this, and also your Panzer 1C type auto cannons will bounce off this, so it is very good against them. Just keep the front of your tank pointed at them, because the sides are a lot weaker. Now also, having 10 degrees of gun depression, this thing has a strong turret, which is great, so you can use the gun depression, and this area just under the turret is, as we've just discussed, also pretty tough, which means that popping over a hill, you're not really showing any weak armor, even if they can see this section. So it's quite good at going hull down, I guess you could say, which is pleasing for a light tank. So the very front section of the turret here, which is quite flat, is 38mm. The sides of the turret are 32mm, but they're very heavily angled, as you can see here. So from front on, we can see that's covering up the equivalent of about 40 to 42, whereas this front section here is actually 38, so it actually works out tougher from the side anyway, so it's quite fairly consistent armor. This blue section here is spaced armor, and it's 38mm over the 38mm underneath, so that will be really hard for tier 3s or anything penetrate, even tier 4s, some of them will bounce off that. And the mantlet area, this pink area, is 51mm over the 38. Except when you get really close to the gun, the 38 underneath dives away, but 51's great anyway. And I have actually bounced a tier 5 Fury, actually bounced off my mantlet. So you can bounce even some tier 5s with that mantlet, which is great to see. The side of the tank isn't very strong, but hey, it is a light tank, 25mm. Same with the rear. The upper deck, we've got this section here is 16, the rest of the upper deck is 13mm. Same with the very top of the turret, but the sloping section at the front is 16, which is pleasing to see, as is the sloping section at the back. They've done a good job on that armor. It also has a collar around the turret ring here. You can see there's 25mm of a collar to help protect the turret ring, which is quite interesting to see as well. Alright, let's get into some gameplay.
Time to roll out.
Alright, so we're in our M3 Stuart, Tier 3 American light tank, and the map is Kamaran, and it's a Tier 4 game. So the enemy has 5 Tier 4 tanks on their team, and we have 4. No, they have 6, and we have 5. But one of theirs is a Nati. So I'm heading straight for the centre, because I like to do that when I have a tank that can do it. It's a great place to spot from. I take a high risk position. I drive across there where the other tanks could have got a shot onto me if they were awake. So here we have, coming right up to us, an M5 Stuart, which is the tank you get after this one. So that's the Tier 4 version. So you go from the M3 Stuart to the M5 Stuart. M5 Stuart actually has probably worse frontal armour than the M3 Stuart. And it has the same gun, except that you get a, has an auto-loader version of it that's available to you as well. But it has the same penetration, same damage per shot. And here you see his auto-loader. It fires 5 shots in rapid succession. Now I'm failing to penetrate in here. His auto-loader will have been just about finished reloading, so I decided to pull out. He did do quite a bit of damage to me with his auto-loader gun. But it really is an awful gun for a Tier 4 tank, that, because it's the same penetration as this gun. And this gun on Tier 3 tank doesn't do that well at Tier 4 or Tier 5, so it's really tough. Alright, DW2 has 50mm of armour on the front and the side of the hull and the turret. So I'm picking spots. Now that's dead flat. Viewport, that should be going in, but it isn't. So either we're just getting unlucky rolls, or it's losing, because we've got 56mm of pen, we're losing more than 6mm of pen at this range. Aiming for the machine gun port. We're just bouncing off. It is angled, but even so. Machine gun port, come on. Oh, okay, we got one shot in for 36 damage. Woohoo! We're kicking butt. So, unfortunately, when we came up here, we ran into a bunch of their Tier 4 tanks. So we had a bit of a hard time. So I wasn't able to do a lot of spotting from up here, which is what I want to do, is get into these bushes and spot. But this game is going very quickly. We are annihilating the enemy team, and there's no one left on this side of the map. So there's no one for me to spot. I'm looking around going, where is everyone? And they're all out the other side of the map. So, yeah. Didn't get to do all the spotting I wanted to do because we just had too tough a fight first. So now I see that there's most of the tanks are over this side. So I can come over here and see if I can get some shots or do some spotting. And Cruiser Mark II, thank you very much. I'll take that. Tier 3 tank. A couple of good shots. Someone else kills it off. And this T-127 here is nearly dead. Another Tier 3 tank. And we managed to get the shot on him. Alright, so they've only got 2 tanks left. That Birch gun, which I can't see because Matilda's in the way at the moment, or he might protect him anyway. Let's see if we can get a shot on him here. There he is. Oh, he's gone. I'll just blind fire. Really worth blind firing this tank. You get heaps of ammo. I think it's over 100 rounds of ammunition you start with, so feel free to blind fire and to try and shoot down buildings, although the gun is not very good at shooting down buildings. This is the last tank remaining. Let's see if we can get a shot on this T-127. Gee, it's been a fast game. Does happen at low tiers. Critical. Damn it. And we've penned him. Oh, good. We've got another one. And game over. So not too bad a game, considering it was a Tier 4 game, and we did run into the nest of Tier 4s. Now, bear in mind too, that gameplay, my crew was 75%, and they will be in the next game as well. So what you're seeing isn't as good as the tank can be. I'm sure with 100% trained crew, obviously the aim time and reload times would definitely be quicker. The camouflage would be a bit better. The handling of the tank would be a bit better. All of that. So you've got to bear that in mind, and the accuracy, all that sort of stuff. Anyway, it was Class 2, and we managed to get a Confederate badge. We did manage to penetrate that DW2 once, which helped us get Confederate. Yeah, so yeah, not bad. Alright, so we finished, what, about 4th for XP. The Matilda, as expected, finished on top for XP. It is a troll tank at this tier. Now, the M5 Stuart, we had one on our team and the one on the other team there. Yeah, you did see that we did bounce some shots off the M5 Stuart, even though it has worse armour than us in most areas. So, the gun does lack pen against, you know, Tier 4, even Tier 4 light tanks in some cases. And so, Yeah, at tier 5, it's almost not worth firing your gun at all. Yeah, but look, a lot of tier 3 tanks are like that, so I guess that's fair enough. So we fired 24 shots, of which 20 hit, so it was mostly close range shooting, and the accuracy of the gun actually is pretty good for this tier, and I'm sure with a 100% trained crew, it would be quite good. Out of the 20 shots, we hit with 13 penetrated, so seeing the weak penetration, even though there was only, what, tier 4, 5 tier 4s or something on the enemy team. We even bounced one off artillery, although it was a tier 4 artillery, I think. Damage 420, hits received 5, they all penetrated us. Oh no, we did block 1. There you go. Enemy vehicle spotted 4, we damaged 7 vehicles, destroying 1 of them. And a little bit of assistance damage. 14 grand income. We got a little bit of a bonus, but don't worry about that. I mean, it's nearly all profit, so it is profitable as you expect at this tier. And 455 XP was enough for a class 2 in this tank. Next game.
Move out.
The map is N2, our tier 3 M3 Stuart. Now we've seen the performance in a tier 4 match, and we've seen it struggle with some tier 4s, but what about when we're the top tier? It's a tier 3 game, and there are a bunch of tier 2 tanks in this game as well. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tier 3s on the enemy team, so we've got a pretty good chance to do well, and considering the crew's only 75%, I think this tank would really rock at this tier with a fully trained crew. I take up an early position in case anybody sort of starts driving down here out in the open. I'm going to try and sneak a few shots into them. And it's not working, nothing's happening. Now once this game gets going, it's going to be all go. I promise you an exciting game, so I probably won't be able to give you much commentary. Some of you will probably prefer that. These trucks are a little bit in the way. I'm thinking about shooting through them, but I'm going to wait. First shot doesn't seem to hit him, it just hits the cars. So Panzer II can be a pretty tough tank to penetrate with this tank. He's fairly well armoured for a tier 2 tank. Doesn't look like he spotted me. I don't have sixth sense, but doesn't look like he spotted me. Oh, maybe somebody did, because a shot after I moved, then a shot came flying past. So one thing about this tank I've realised is you have to relocate. You can't just stay in one place and keep shooting people. You need to keep moving. Ah, that's what was shooting at me before, that cruiser. He manages to hit me there. I get one shot into him. Now I'm not going to pop back there again. You have fairly low hit points in this tank, and you just can't afford to be trading shots. So you've got to move, take a shot from somewhere, move again, take a shot, move. So even though I took a shot there, it missed. There's 3 targets there. I'd love to pop back out and have another shot. It's very tempting, but I'll get hit. Now there's a Chinese here in a bad position, so I want to try and capitalise on that. And, well, he dies before I get a chance. That Cruiser 3 must be on the other side of the building. So I'm trying to be sneaky and take opportunities here, but I'm not having much luck. So I pop out here again, and this guy's lit up. See how I missed him. I'm getting shot by a Panzer II, but you can see it's mostly bouncing. So when I said the armor stands up well against little scout tanks, I wasn't making it up. Although one of his shots did penetrate for 12 damage. So we've taken a hit for 40 from the Cruiser 2 and or Cruiser 3, sorry, and 12 damage from the Panzer. Uh-oh, M2 Light can be a difficult tank to pen. Fortunately, we've got side shots, and there's a Panzer 2 up there shooting at me as well. And he got a shot in my side. Shoots through the wall. Doesn't pen him. Now Artie's in the way. I'm trying to save Artie, but I'm also trying not to shoot Artie at the same time. I'm too late. Artie's dead. We get another shot into this M2 Light though. And we managed to get him. Somebody else helped out as well with a shot into him there. So now I'm trying to see where this Panzer II was and see if I can get a shot into him. I can't see him at the moment. I'm backing up into here so the Panzer II can't shoot me from the side. I know he will have trouble penetrating my front armor, but he can penetrate my side. So I've put this building in here. I'm trying to shoot this D2, but I keep bouncing even off his side. I just can't pen that D2. There's a Panzer 1C. Keeping my front, pretty much my front to him. He's bounced every shot. So once again, just showing you how the armor works. But I've got to get out of here because there's so many tanks coming in. If I stay in the one spot, they'll home in on me. So nice shot to the side of that Panzer II. Can we finish him? No. Looks like artillery just shot at me and missed. I was lucky there. I see a Panzer I-2 on my right. 1C, sorry. We bounce. The front of the Panzer 1C is a bit tough for this tank to pen. I've got to keep moving. That guy's on low health, so I drove straight at him and took the chance, and we got the hit in. Somebody else was shooting at us then, but we bounced. One to the side of this Chiha. Can we get one in the back? I'm just going to keep moving because there's so many tanks shooting at me. He doesn't even know I'm here, and I'm moving backwards and forwards because I know there's probably other people trying to shoot me. Now can we penetrate him in the back? We can. We get the V2 in the back. The game has evened up. There's now 3 of us and 4 of the enemy. We've had a great impact on the game. Can we keep it going? Panzer 1C was on high health. He's now suffering. Someone else is shooting him as well. And my teammate finishes him off. So a good combined effort there. We've got to get this T2 medium now. We've lost another tank. The enemy has 3 tanks. We have 2. Oh, the M2 just went down. So it's 2 all. And oh yeah. It's me and a T18. And they've just got Artie left. So I decided to go the long way round, not wanting to risk getting hit by Artie. I'm going to throw it through the buildings, and alright, we should win this. However, my armor is okay, but I'm not fancying being able to take a full shot from an Artie. Look at that, a power slide. You don't see that every day in an M3. Yeah, so the T18, he's driving straight up the main road there, and he probably can take a front-on hit from Artie. So I'm not sure which one of us spotted that, the T18 or me. He's on the other side of the wall, so it must have been the T18. I bounced off him. Come on. Alright, we get the kill shot. Hallelujah. Now, I'm on 5 kills. Can we get Top Gun? Come on down. So T18, here he is. I'm trying to get in there and spot him. I've got a pretty good idea where he'll be. Oh, okay. I didn't think he'd be there. Come on, can we get him? Aim, aim. Yes, one hit. He's still... Oh, I moved and he missed me. Come on, come on. I missed. Ah! Oh, well. Good game. Mummy, the T18 stole my Top Gun. Anyway, that was a mastery game, and we got a cool-headed for bouncing so many shots off us. And we did do pretty good, yeah, 5 kills. Unfortunately, we couldn't get that last one in time. We missed with our second shot. Let's have a look at the next screen. So we finished on top for XP, which was a good job. And did we finish on top for damage? Yeah, we did. Okay, so top for damage as well. So yeah, quite a good game. As you can see, at tier 3, it does really well. And I'm pretty sure with a fully trained crew, you know, like, you would do really well. Accuracy would be better. Who knows, we may have even killed that Artie at the end. Shots fired, 38. Direct hits were 24, and 18 of those penetrated. So even in a tier 3 game where you're top tier, you do bounce quite a few shots. Damage 630, which is not bad. Hits received 33, and only 8 of those penetrated. So mostly they were the Panzer II and Panzer 1C shots that bounced. Splash damage, we did get a bit of splash damage from Artie. Blocked by armor 275, and considering we have, what, 240 hit points, that's not bad in a light tank. Enemies spotted 5, we damaged 8, destroying 5, so good, really good result. And very exciting game, I thought. We also got 8 base defense points and a little bit of assistance damage. So you can see, good income, great profit margin. I didn't use any premium ammunition. Probably you could, if you wanted to have more fun in this tank, probably use premium in against tier 4s and 5s. You might have a bit more fun. 804 XP is enough for mastery in the tank. Thank you for watching my review of the M3 Stuart. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more reviews, please subscribe to ReginaldESQ. Have fun.